What's the weirdest sex act you've ever done alone? I had heard about cock rings, the rubber ones and the plastic/metal ones, and heard they make you harder for longer, so decided to try and improvise one day when my mom and sister went out. I found a metal ring that went on a curtain pole and had a little plastic clip on, so I removed that and got some cooking oil and went into my room, greased up the ring and slid it over my semi-flaccid penis and balls. It felt pretty good, so I grabbed a magazine and started to rub one out. The ring slowly moved further back, restricting blood flow and wedging itself tight against my balls and base of my dick. This thing was tight, and I suppose it was doing its job until after I came and wanted it to slide off. It wouldn't. It was there, right against my purple dick and balls for 30 minutes before Mom came home. I couldn't budge it. I was in pain, so I had to call her. The look of utter horror, disbelief, and disgust in her eyes will stay with me forever. By this time my dick was the color number 301,934 and I was in severe pain. My mom immediately called my dad. He drove from work, about 10 minutes, came upstairs, took one look at me, got some Vaseline from the bathroom, which I wish I had known about earlier. He got a thin piece of plastic and put Vaseline on it and slid it under the ring and kind of levered it a bit. The blood drained and my member subsided. He handed me a towel, ruffled my hair, picked up the ring, shut my bedroom door and went back to work. We never talked about it again. Your dad is a real one. I was quite horny in my early teens, so I looked up innovative ways to masturbate. As it seems, if you hollow out a cucumber and microwave it, it does not feel like the inside of a vagina. I was left with the most disgusting vegetable you've ever seen and a memory that lives under the surface of my dignity. Not the act itself, I guess, but the event as a whole. We lived in the sticks, and internet shopping wasn't really a thing back then, not that we had internet anyway. I was a horny but resourceful teenage girl, so I whittled myself a penis-like dildo out of a piece of firewood, sanded it, and varnished it. I was around 14 to 15 at the time. I tested it out once without a condom, and freaked out about the potential toxicity of the varnish. Then used a disposable latex glove because there were no condoms in the house, and the thought of buying them was mortifying. In the end I was too paranoid about it being found, so I tossed it into the fire the next time the fireplace was lit. Whittled dildo is the best so far. Not because it's weird, just because it is. Hope you use 220 grit. She wet sanded it. It was knotty pine. You were the country girls make do meme ong. My grandmother, bless her soul, was the sweetest, most innocent woman you'd ever met. She would stay with us sometimes and help out around the house. One year, for Christmas, she bought me a pack of hankies. Obviously confused, I wanted an explanation. She said to me that I need to use hankies to blow my nose into, instead of all my clothes, because she did the washing and saw all the crusty stains on them. I am sorry, Grandma. I am really, really sorry. Your grandma knew exactly what you were doing. She knows you're a wanker, Chief. I kind of have this fetish where the idea of being experimented on, or being the product of a Frankenstein's monster kind of experiment, is a big turn on. I also have a fetish for being forced to drink liquids. So one day I decided to try combining the two. I set up some spooky green lights in my living room, then take some plastic tubing I have from other hobbies and make myself a siphon, with one end down my throat a little ways, and the other in a big-ass cup of Gatorade sitting on a table above me. May as well hydrate, am I right? I laid down on my back, with a towel under me, and just kind of let the siphon go. It didn't last long. The weight changed so rapidly the tubing pulled the glass over, spilling the like half-gallon of Gatorade all over me and my carpet. I had put towels down, but it was just so much it still soaked through. So here I am, sitting in the middle of my living room, naked, covered in Gatorade like a butthole. It wasn't a highlight of my solo sexual exploits, but it's a good story I don't ever get to tell, lol. I love that you set up green lights, lol. Real talk, that was the best part, lol. My favorite stories here are the ones like this where people are trying to fulfill a fantasy that is more optimal with two people with just themselves and failing miserably. May your next experimental exploits be better? Got so horny that I masturbated with a carrot and went to see my then boyfriend with the carrot still inside me, 20-minute bus ride, just to be greeted by his mom at the door. Nope the F out of there even before entering his place. Edit. Thanks guys. Honey, your girlfriend stopped by. She left a pickled carrot on the doorstep and ran away. Made a fake vagina with a rubber glove, empty pasta sauce jar, a bath sponge and a rubber band. Then effed it for weeks as a lonely teenager. This dude is so Italian he effed a pasta sauce jar. Dug a penis-size hole in the ground, filled it with packing grease, effed it. You literally effed the planet. Nestle has entered the chat. It takes a massive Oedipus complex to F Mother Earth. Spent a whole day during school break lazy, in bed, seeing how many times I could ejaculate. The answer for 17-year-old me was 12 times. 44-year-old me has not yet repeated the experiment, but my guess is once. Dude, it's in the name of science. Okay, fine, you convinced me. Edit, as of midnight, twice. But not trying especially hard. 30-year-old me can barely manage twice in a day. I'm afraid if I went for 3 I'd have a heart attack and the medics would have to put me on a stretcher with my hand still on my dick and they don't need to see that. You know you've overdone it when the last ejaculation was just salt. Once when I was a young teen I wanted to know what my cum tasted like but licking it off my hand seemed gross so I jerked off into a Tostitos scoop and then ate it. It would take me years to realize that cum is both salty but not that salty. The part that made me crack up was the trademark symbol at the end of Tostitos. That's just... I don't even know what to say lol. I hope this is just a weird advertisement. Saw a thing in a hentai, decided to try it out, gave myself a UTI and thrush. If you're going to F a bottle, make sure to sterilize it first. In general, don't do what hentais do. You will almost certainly end up with either a UTI, in some form of relationship with some form of demon, or you will be asleep at the end of the day. I wrote a raunchy message to a girl on my phone but didn't send it. I aimed my erection at the phone and made a deal with my dick that if it could get hard enough to reach the send button, the message would get on its way. And what happened? I sent it and then came and immediately felt regret. So I changed my picture to a photo of China and my username to a bunch of Mandarin nonsense and then spammed her a bunch of Chinese stuff to make her think I was a foreign spammer. 10/10 come back my guy. I didn't think that would be possible. In middle school, I once got a postcard from a girl I was super into. I'm pretty sure it was a generic birthday card. Anyway, I was so excited that I opened the card, cut a hole in the middle and tried to F it. Didn't go well, do not recommend. Highly uncomfortable and painful. Do you want to know how I got these scars? This sounds like a ritual or something. I used a wooden sword as a dildo when I was a teenager. On guard. Imagine if you got a splinter. Imagine having to explain a splinter. One time when I was like 11, my PS2 controller glitched out and it just vibrated nonstop. That's all I'll say. And the rest is history. Edit, please stop with the herstory. My phone is going to literally cease itself. Role-played sex on a Minecraft server. Alright, I am going to quit Minecraft. Oh yeah, Mr. Creeper, put it deeper SSS. I'm going to explode. Effed a cabbage. Made pole slaw. Creamed cabbage. Trouserkraut. Kok choy. My cabbages. Make F to the couch cushions, you know, in between the crevice? Did you tell the couch to keep the change? Pats the armrest / same time tomorrow night? blew myself. Edit. Somebody reported me to Reddit for self-harm. This is the way. Can Mandalorians show their dicks to others? Only if the head is covered. Got a cheap game for my PS4 that made the controller vibrate a lot because my vibrator was broken. Edit. I swear I get so many wholesome awards just because of my username. My dudes, the name is about Blue Doc Martens. Modern problems require modern solutions. Wanked it while riding a tandem bike home from a fetish party. Edit to address some questions. Solo. Front. I often ride tandem solo because it's fun, less likely to be stolen, and is quite useful for bringing someone home on. Currently working on rigging a small vibrator to the back seat with controls at the front. Yup. Username checks out. Redditor 9 years, and proud of this being my most upvoted comment. Thanks for the bling. Where the F are fetish parties at? Grandma's house. Username checks out. I've told this before, and it'll get buried again. But for anyone sorting by new, here goes. I was 16 and my first job was at a wedding venue, working as a server during the receptions and then helping out with cleanup afterward. This was a pretty ritzy place, and we had to have the floors looking like mirrors before we went home. That took hours with a buffer/washer, stripping it down to get rid of the dancers' scuff marks and then building it up with layers of wax. The handle of the buffer was adjustable, and being a small chick I found it easiest to control if I sort of wedged into the top of my pelvis. That way I could use my ugly little boy hips to move it around. No upper body strength needed. One night, the buffer either malfunctioned or worked better than ever before, depending on if you were asking my boss or my lady parts. It vibrated like it was about to fall apart, due to an improperly installed brush head. I didn't mind, though. As soon as I tucked that sucker's handle up onto my pelvis, the most wonderful things started happening in the region just a couple of inches below that. I looked around, did a quick adjustment to lower the handlebar just a tad, and then fired that big boy up. 10 minutes of that, and my eyes were permanently rolled back into my head. My entire middle body from my knees to my floating ribs was a throbbing pool of liquid pleasure. Every couple of seconds, the eccentric rotation of the misaligned brush would throw one big vibration in, making my hips buck and my breath to freeze in my chest. I vowed to strip wax off of every floor in the greater Chesterfield metropolitan area. I was going to marry that buffer. I was going to write Mrs. Clark Buffer in my trapper keeper at school the next Monday. I loved that buffer. And then I realized that I had an audience. Half of the rest of the crew was standing at the kitchen door watching me nuke my genitals with the handle of an industrial floor polisher. I instantly pushed the thing away from me, losing control. It spun wildly, wrapping the cord around itself and flipping over onto the floor, spraying wet soapy water all over the place. Thankfully all the tables were pushed up against the other side of the room. I was pretty embarrassed, but I soldiered on, unwinding the cord and going back to stripping the floor as if nothing other than a loss of buffer control had occurred. I caught a little ribbing about it, but my boss put an end to it pretty quickly. Which makes sense, you don't let your crew get that raunchy around a 16-year-old girl. And apparently I was not the first to discover the joys of buffer-induced vibrations. Over the next few weeks, a couple of the other female members of the crew related their stories about how they had found out that a slight adjustment of the pad and handle could make wonderful things happen. They were just a little better about not pulling a when Harry met Sally moment while their coworkers watched. Summary: found out that a floor buffer can produce strong vibrations that can be transmitted to one's crotch area via the handle. Enjoyed an extended period of bliss while stripping a floor, without realizing that I was putting on a show for my coworkers. Totally worth it. Phone sex. I've only done it once with A so many years ago and I felt so damn awkward the entire time. She was way into it but I couldn't even get a semi. I 100% faked my orgasm. Yo 100% did this except he got off, I didn't lol. Tried phone sex with strangers, it was fun, except all the people I found were middle-aged women, which made sense. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.